What if one 5-year journey could completely change the way humans understand life on Earth? Imagine boarding a small wooden ship without knowing that your observations would one day challenge centuries of beliefs and change science forever. Imagine collecting a few birds, strange fossils, unusual plants, and giant tortoises, only to discover a secret hidden inside them. A secret so powerful that it would spark debates across the world for more than 160 years. Many people rejected his ideas. Some praised his courage. Others called him dangerous. Yet today, his discoveries form one of the foundations of modern biology. This is the incredible true story of Charles Darwin, the curious young naturalist whose unforgettable voyage changed the world forever. Stay until the end, because Darwin's greatest discovery wasn't about animals. It was about the power of curiosity. A curious boy unlike the others. Charles Robert Darwin was born on February 12, 1809, in Shrewsbury, England. His father was a respected doctor. His family hoped Charles would follow the same path. But Charles was fascinated by completely different things. Instead of spending hours studying medicine, he wandered through forests and fields. He collected beetles. He observed birds. He examined flowers. Every walk felt like an adventure. His pockets often returned home filled with rocks, feathers, insects, and tiny treasures from nature. Many people thought he was simply playing. Charles believed nature was telling stories. He only needed to learn how to listen. School wasn't his favorite place. Charles wasn't considered a brilliant student. He disliked memorizing facts. He struggled to stay interested in subjects that offered no room for curiosity. Teachers sometimes underestimated him. Even his father once became frustrated. According to family stories, his father told him, "You care for nothing but shooting, dogs, and catching rats." Those words hurt. But Charles didn't stop loving nature. Sometimes, the talents that matter most cannot be measured inside a classroom. A future doctor? Not quite. At 16, Charles was sent to the University of Edinburgh to study medicine. His father hoped he would become a successful doctor. But Charles found surgery horrifying. In those days, operations were performed without modern anesthesia. Watching patients suffer deeply affected him. He realized medicine wasn't his calling. Instead of attending every lecture, he spent time studying marine animals with local naturalists. Without realizing it, he was preparing for something much greater. Finding his true passion. Charles later entered Cambridge University. Officially, he studied theology. Unofficially, he spent most of his free time exploring nature. One professor, botanist John Stevens Henslow, noticed Charles's endless curiosity. Rather than criticizing it, he encouraged it. Henslow introduced Charles to scientists and explorers. He taught him how to observe carefully, how to record details, how to ask meaningful questions. Good teachers don't simply provide answers. They help students discover their own questions. The invitation that changed everything. In 1831, an unexpected opportunity appeared. The British survey ship HMS Beagle planned a long voyage around the world. The captain wanted a young naturalist to study plants, animals, rocks, and fossils. Charles was offered the position. His father immediately refused. The journey seemed dangerous. It would take years. It offered little financial reward. Fortunately, Charles's uncle convinced his father to reconsider. That single decision changed history. Sometimes one yes changes an entire lifetime. Life at sea. The voyage lasted nearly 5 years. The Beagle crossed rough oceans, violent storms, and unfamiliar coastlines. Charles often suffered terrible seasickness. Some days he could barely stand. Yet whenever the ship reached land, his excitement returned. He climbed mountains, explored forests, crossed deserts, collected thousands of specimens, filled notebooks with observations. Every island seemed to hold another mystery. Nature was becoming his greatest teacher. The fossils that raised questions. In South America, Charles discovered enormous fossils of extinct animals. They resembled living species found nearby. Why would extinct giant creatures look so similar to modern animals? Could there be a connection? Instead of ignoring the question, Charles wrote it down. Great discoveries often begin with simple observations. The Galápagos Islands. The Beagle eventually reached the remote Galápagos Islands. At first glance, the islands looked ordinary. But Charles soon noticed something remarkable. Each island had animals that looked similar, yet slightly different. The giant tortoises varied from island to island. Mockingbirds had subtle differences. Most famously, small finches possessed beaks of different shapes. Some cracked seeds. Others caught insects. Some fed on cactus plants. Each beak perfectly matched its food source. Charles realized these differences couldn't be accidents. Nature seemed to be adapting. A revolutionary idea begins. Back in England, Charles spent years organizing his notes. He compared specimens, studied fossils, read scientific books. Slowly, a bold idea emerged. Perhaps species were not fixed forever. Perhaps living things changed gradually over many generations. Individuals with helpful traits survived more often. They produced more offspring. Those useful traits became increasingly common. Over immense periods of time, entirely new species could appear. Charles called this process natural selection. It was one of the most revolutionary ideas in history. Years of careful thinking. Many people imagine Darwin rushing to publish his theory. The truth was very different. He spent more than 20 years collecting evidence. He knew extraordinary ideas required extraordinary proof. He studied pigeons, barnacles, plants, earthworms. Every new observation strengthened his confidence. Patience became one of his greatest strengths. A race against time. In 1858, Darwin received an unexpected letter from another naturalist named Alfred Russel Wallace. Wallace had independently reached a theory remarkably similar to Darwin's. Darwin faced a difficult decision. Should he remain silent? Or finally publish his life's work? With support from fellow scientists, both men's ideas were presented together. Soon afterward, Darwin completed his famous book, the book that changed biology. In 1859, Darwin published On the Origin of Species. The book sold out immediately. Readers across Europe debated every chapter. Some praised Darwin's careful reasoning. Others strongly rejected his conclusions. The discussions spread into universities, churches, newspapers, and homes. Regardless of opinion, one fact became clear. Science would never be the same. Facing criticism, Darwin knew many people disagreed with him. Some misunderstood his ideas. Others feared change. Yet Darwin rarely responded with anger. Instead, he continued collecting evidence. He believed truth grows stronger through careful observation, not loud arguments. His calm determination earned widespread respect. A humble scientist. Despite worldwide fame, Darwin remained remarkably modest. He preferred working quietly at his home in Down House. He spent hours walking his famous thinking path. Many of his best ideas came while strolling through nature. He never claimed to know everything. He simply believed every answer should begin with careful observation. Changing science forever. Today, Darwin's work influences biology, medicine, genetics, agriculture, ecology, and conservation. Scientists continue building upon the foundation he helped establish. Modern discoveries, including DNA and genetics, have expanded our understanding of evolution while reinforcing many of Darwin's central insights. His greatest gift wasn't just a theory. It was a method of asking questions and following evidence wherever it led. The final lesson. Charles Darwin reminds us that curiosity can change the world. He wasn't the strongest sailor. He wasn't the richest scientist. He wasn't the loudest voice. He was simply someone who paid attention. He noticed tiny differences others ignored. He asked difficult questions. He patiently searched for answers. His journey teaches us that great discoveries rarely happen overnight. They begin with observation, grow through persistence, and succeed through courage. The next time you walk through a park, watch a bird, look at a flower, notice an insect. Nature is still telling stories. Just as it whispered its secrets to Charles Darwin nearly 2 centuries ago. Who knows? Perhaps the next great discovery is waiting for someone curious enough to look a little closer. Because the voyage that changed biology began with one young man who never stopped asking, why? The end.